Alright, I'm Hunter Bradley, and this is my project on the Code of Justinian, Middle Ages articles. Alright, the background behind the Code of Justinian. Justinian the First was the Byzantine Emperor, or Roman Emperor, from 527 to 565 CE. And at the start of his ruling, the Byzantine Empire was very, very poor and was in a very, very fragile state. So the emperor believed that the law was essential to the security of the empire as a military power, and basically his legal achievements were an attempt to store power and legacy across the Byzantine Empire. So he made laws to ensure the righteousness and fairness of the Byzantine Empire, and was written in the Code of Justinian, or Corpus Civilis. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's in Latin. Okay. The first article that I put in my timeline, or cited in my timeline, talked about who actually made Justinian's Code and how was it made, because it took years to make, and it was made by a group of people that Justinian trusted very well. And also the article talked about how the Code of Justinian spread throughout Europe and was the basis of the laws that we use today. And also it talks about, like I said before in the other slide, about how Justinian's code brought order to the Byzantines, or the Byzantine Empire, and made it a strong empire that was very prosperous and had laws to make it stable. Okay, the second article that I've cited and put in my timeline talks about more into depth about how Justinian came about making the code, because it took a lot of time to make this, because a lot of the code was completed in 530 CE, but he made some revisions and the book was not finished until 545 CE. The new laws that Justinian made had a big impact on the Byzantine Empire and put it back into balance, so it goes into talk about what life was like after the Byzantine Empire was back in balance. But most of the article was talking about basically how King Justinian came across or made the code, because he was a very smart and educated man, and along with his colleagues, the code was made, and a lot of the basics of the code is the foundation to legal systems all across the world today, including ours. Okay, the final article that I cited in my timeline goes into depth about what actually was inside the Code of Justinian, or Corpus Civilis, and it talks about the 4 books that were composed into Justinian's Code. These books were, sorry if I pronounce these wrong, they're in Latin: Codex Constitutionum, Digesta, or Predicate, Institutionis, Novelle Constitutionis Post Codicium. And these laws was, all of these books put together was huge. It's probably about around 1 million words. And it dealt with every single life aspect in the society of Byzantium. So basically all these books together made the Justinian's Code, and these books all together are basically the foundation of most governments today, and a lot of the rules we still abide by today, and basically are the foundations. And yeah. Okay, to conclude, the Justinian's Code came around when Emperor Justinian decided to edit existing Roman laws, which at the time was a very big deal because nobody had done that for a very long time up until that point. And as well as add some of his own, which then basically created Justinian's code. And this code had a very, very big effect on the laws of the land and still remains as the foundation of laws in many Western countries, such as their own to this day. So Justinian's code is the foundation of all modern countries and societies. And although its effects not being immediate, Justinian's administrative genius helped to bring stability to unfair laws that he inherited for Rome. So when he was an emperor, the laws that were before them were not fair, and Justinian made it his goal as the emperor of Rome and of Byzantium to change these laws to bring a stable empire for Rome and for Byzantium. So, to conclude, Justinian's Code played a very big part in medieval history and in the laws that we abide by to this day. Thank you. This is Hunter Bradley.